back to episode 33 of the podcast. It's the NoStoppingKev Crew. We in the building. How you feeling?
Well, you know me, this like me making speeches today when you put me out front like this. So, this makes me nervous. Even after all these shows.
What you scared of?
It's not even being scared. You know what? All the basketball games I played, I always was nervous before I got on the court or leading up to. But once I get into it, then I was okay. So I guess this is something just like that.
Yeah, now you into it. See anything in the news interesting this week?
Not too much. What about you?
Yeah, so Zion, I guess he really was strongly considering going back to Duke for one more season. I thought that's pretty interesting. I feel like, whenever you're projected to go number one overall, there's a lot of things that come with that. Guaranteed money, endorsements, fame. But he actually, I think, wanted to go back, but he probably was receiving a lot of pressure from his family, and friends to kind of go for it, be that guy. So, it's interesting just what it's like to be in that position, choosing to, basically still be a kid or be an adult. Because essentially that's what happens, right?
Well, I guess you still are a kid in a sense that, when you just there, you just getting that money now, and I guess it's some responsibilities in you jumping up to the next level. So, I guess so,
It's like, once you make that move to go to the NBA, like you're really independent. I feel like it makes you have to mature faster than what you would ordinarily have to.
Definitely, definitely because what the lifestyle now that you live in and what you're around now, like it just is a big difference. It's like a great big difference, for one, because now, like you really live in a manhood. You can take care of people. You can do a lot more, and people gonna expect that out of you too. So it's like difficult, and you gotta have good people in your circle, to lead you. We've seen like Kobe and them, they made it, but they had people, they had people that had to take them under the wing, so it definitely could be done.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess some of that is like, I guess what I'm talking about or want to talk a little bit about today is like disciplining yourself. It just, it can make you really feel good, but it's working, making good habits, making good choices, like it just staying disciplined, staying what you might have learned, and not letting that take you outside of yourself. And I think that's probably good because like you don't really have to be stressing yourself out and worrying so much about some things. You just need to stay focused on things like that. What do you think about that?
I mean, you're right on point when you talk about, building good habits. That's one thing I preach to my guys all the time is that, being disciplined, especially when it comes to preparation. When you're playing in a competitive sport, and, you got to go out there and perform. I tell my guys all the time, the games are won well before the ball even tips off. Like we talking about a game, a practice before, 2 practices before, however much time we have. I always tell them that W for Thursday starts with what we do today. So, staying disciplined and, my new thing for them, because we kind of got a new group this year, trying to instill that dog in them. And so, kind of teaching them, like, do what you got to do to win at everything. So that's like the new thing that kind of goes off of our discipline. I told you our 3 pillars are sacrifice, trust, and discipline. And so just being disciplined in that preparation so that you can be, the best you.
And plus, like when you say creating good habits, it's like we've been doing like when you talk about him getting up to this level now and doing it, but it's some things that you've been doing all your life. You know, that's one thing that I always say. I always used to say with you. You had good habits from the start. You know, it's funny. I remember when you was little and we was down at the beach and you know you picked some paper off and put it in the trash can. And this lady said, wow, you know, it was just something, but you had these habits that's always, so like when you're saying if you got these good habits, it's kind of hard to break some of them habits. You know, they can make you, and we still got to make day-to-day choices and good decisions all the time, you know. And you know, just like having the good habits can really help you get your things done, what you need to really get done in life. Like when you set your mind to it, you know, like sometimes like when you got to go out and you got to run some drills or you doing drills and you know like if you doing them right, you know, like I say, all this can really make you feel good and make you work to stay, you know, into that and
Hmm.
keep doing that job, you know. And the other thing, one of the other things, like I really say about that, is staying focused on what focus I think is a major thing. And if you stay disciplined, that helps your focus, you know, stay in that right direction and with that right behavior and stuff like that.
Yeah, you know, I look back to, you know, when I was in high school, because that was a time where, you know, pretty much sun up to sundown, especially during basketball season, it's pretty tied up. You know, go to class, then after class, you know, I might get, you know, an hour or so before practice started. And then, you know, you go to practice, I'm getting home at 8, and then I might, somewhere in there, you fit in dinner and also, you know, homework. So, you know, staying disciplined, you know, I think the only reason I was able to, you know, kind of stick to my regiment back then was because I knew I had a goal in mind. I knew I had something that I was chasing. You know, getting into a good college, getting scholarships. You know, those things were always kind of at the forefront. And I think that, you know, that just speaks to the fact that goals and discipline kind of go hand in hand. You know, if you know what you want, if you know the type of life you want to live, if you know what helps you feel, you know, good as a person, then I think it's going to be a little bit easier to remain disciplined. So, you know, I think that anybody that's trying to find some type of discipline in your life, you know, think about some of the things that you want. You know, some of the things that you want, and think about what you got to do to reach that achievement, you know? And
Yeah.
then from there, you can figure out what you need to kind of do in your day-to-day life in order to achieve that goal.
You know, another thing, like, you know, it boosts your self-esteem, you know, and that helps your work ethics too. You know, when you start to really feeling good about doing and what you doing, you know, and you like you know what, like I always try to use the frame of staying in my lane. When I stay in my lane and don't try to go out there and just try to do what I gotta do, and just you know, and then it comes back down to making them decisions and choices. But you know, like I could tell you, you know, when I really started feeling this way at work, you know what, I started really enjoying work. Like, you know, the job got better. You know, at one time I was looking at the pay, but like, you know what? But then when I started doing the job and the things, the job, like, you know what? I look forward to going to work now. I look forward to doing my job. And like, you know what? Like, and I just try to do the right thing for, you know, like when we talk about discipline. For I don't have to get punished, you know, because like a lot of times you think when they're disciplined, you think about punishment and stuff like that. But now, you know, like a discipline can really make you feel good. You know, like I remember like John Chaney when he wanted me to come and play for him. Like I really didn't want to play for him because he ran a disciplined game team. And like, you know what? I wanted to freelance or play more, but you know, like them guys had fun, man. And you know, like they won like with that, and they beat people like that. You know, so like I'm just saying, it really can boost you and still make your, you know, and make you work harder. You know, because it's success in that.
Yeah, you know, speaking of basketball, I'll pivot to, my coaching chronicles. But, a lot of, one thing I've been working with my team on is staying disciplined and using our dribbles, right? A lot of times, when you have, I'll say a younger team or a team that's less seasoned, not as much experience, they tend to over dribble, right? So like dribbling into the press versus, kind of, you know, being effective with your dribble uses, like maybe taking, two hard dribbles to draw two guys together, knowing that they're looking to trap you in a certain area of the floor, and then reversing the ball to the other side of the floor. So now a guy got space, and if the trap is coming, the defender has to fly all the way to the other side of the floor. But now really you got a one-on-one, so you can just throw it to the next guy. This is what killed us on Thursday. And so yesterday in practice, I had to dial it back. You know what we did?
What did they do?
5-on-5, no dribbles. Because it really makes you think about how it helps you see that you don't have to put the ball on the floor to score a basket. There's a lot of other things you can do. Setting good screens, cutting hard. It makes you rely on other things. And, to some extent, it helps you not go into trouble because we have a lot of guards that over-penetrate.
Right.
So, helping them see that. So I think that might be something we do every practice. Then I might go to one dribble. So then you really got to use it to get somewhere. Because you got a lot of guys, it's like they catch the ball and they just got to put it on the floor. And then some of them might even stop in the same spot. It's like, why'd you waste that? So yesterday was definitely a practice where we had to dial it back a little bit and just to teach them to be, more disciplined and strategic in their approach on the floor. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Because,
I'm sorry.
It like you were saying with, John Chaney's team, when you play, you kind of have a systematic attack. At times, it can lead to greater success.
You know what I was going to say to you? I never told you about my junior high school coach.
I'm sure you have, but go ahead and refresh my memory.
We used to practice. It wasn't no dribble. We used to have practice where it was limited, like it might be 5 passes in a shot. And, I think that really, really helped me learn basketball because now, and then the thing was, he used to give Sixers tickets away at the end of the week for people that had the most points, most assists, rebounds. So we got to go to the basketball game. So it taught you how to really think because, I always like to score. I always like to get somebody in some. So it taught me how that, okay, if we only got 5 passes and you had to make the right amount of passes, you couldn't shoot.
So you had to shoot on the 5th?
You had to shoot on the 5th or the 3rd. It didn't matter. You had to shoot on that many. You couldn't shoot before. If you was under the basket on the 2nd pass, right? You got to throw the ball back out, like that. So it taught you how to get in position to get them shots. Or how to try to get, like you said, the hard cut to maybe get open where that next pass had to come for a layup. Mm-hmm. And I think, and we learned that at a young age. I mean, I started, when I was in junior high school, when I was in the 7th grade, that's how we practice every day. Yeah. And I thought I mentioned it, so when I just heard you just talking about that, if I would suggest that, I would suggest to try to do every day, especially when you got kids, like you said, that don't dribble in the traps, want to do all like that, because everybody want to dribble the ball,
Yeah.
Everybody, they made the crossover and all that, so where the discipline?
Yeah, and, it's funny because I had to do this drill. I might have had to put it in once last season, too. Because for the same problem. And it's funny because when they first start out doing it, it's like they don't know what to do. They're passing. Then you got to tell them, you remember we weren't cutting hard in the first quarter and we weren't getting baskets?
Right.
Here's why. So, once they start realizing, hey, we actually got to cut hard. We got to set good screens. We actually got to move the ball. Actually got to get good ball movement. So that way you get the defense moving, which ends up freeing up some guys for some shots. So the team that won yesterday was the team that did those things. They moved hard. They moved the ball, right, to where they were getting, 6, 7, making extra passes so that they got a great shot, right? The other thing was they there was one guy in particular that stood out yesterday with how hard he was cutting, and I was like, I got to find this kid more minutes, all because of how hard he was cutting in practice. So once he gets in there and he plays free in our motion, that hey he'll make some passes and cut hard, and we might can get him some easy shots in the lane, right? So he doesn't even know this, but he kind of stood out yesterday in that regard, and he's getting more comfortable and confident playing. But that's the team that won, that did the little things essentially.
When you talk about that, and I know we talk about like this more in basketball because we know basketball a lot better and maybe some. But I used to watch some, or I remember hating to play against some teams that were patient, that was disciplined and run their offense. You know why? Because all they do is break you down and then capitalize on capitalize on your mistake. And they make you make a mistake because we ain't patient or disciplined. Like you might have to play defense for 24 seconds or 23 seconds. You might want to just play defense for 18 seconds. I remember one game. We was down and these guys, that's all they did. We wound up winning this game and coming back, but they were so patient with their offense, especially, and they just make you make mistakes. And that's just like in life. If you got to stay focused, you got to stay patient, man.
Yeah.
And like I guess that's the discipline part of it.
Yeah, and I think going right along with the parallel of basketball, speaking of teams like that, like when you play against, teams. A lot of times it came for me when we would go playing like team camps and stuff.
Yeah.
You playing against different private schools, and you can tell they had a very systematic approach, right? It's much different than the style of basketball you see a lot of times in the inner city. And those guys, like you said, they're gonna make you play defense because they're gonna work until they get a great shot. They're not gonna settle for an okay shot or a good shot. They're gonna keep setting screens, moving the ball, running their sets until they get that wide open look. And before you know it, you down 15 quick.
Correct.
Like you think you making a run because you're getting in transition here and there, but they're coming down each time working you. And because they're disciplined enough to make sure they take a great shot, is why sometimes they be the toughest teams to beat. So that's the other big thing I work on with our guys is shot selection. It's funny, I put a poll up on I think I put like a question up on Instagram. You can ask questions, and it was like it was a picture of me coaching, and my facial expression was pretty funny, and I was like, caption this basically, and there were about 4 or 5 responses that all had to do with me making a comment about like somebody taking a certain type of shot or their shot selection, so that was pretty funny, but it's just teaching them how, hey, we can get that shot that you just took at any point in the possession. Right, so if it's a shot we can get any point in the possession, we shouldn't just dribble down no pass and take that shot. Or it shouldn't be one pass and take that shot. Because you bail the defense out. Right, so teaching them to be disciplined. Hey, run our sets. Let's try to get that great look versus an okay shot. So that was basically my week this week in a nutshell. At least on the offensive end.
It's just like it just helps you become like when you could stay disciplined. It just helps you become that much better than in what you're doing. Like I said, like even in the workplace, even on the basketball court, like if you stay disciplined and stay like I said, I like to always say, stay in your lane, do what you do best and what you can do, and then what. The teachers, you gonna learn how to do that. Just like when we go back and you talk about like the pro basketball player, it takes some seniority to lead them, to show them the way to do it. And you all, what, like I always say, and like I have to say, God had taught me the best since my incarceration. He had really let me, but one thing it learned me to see that he always was there, and I chose to make bad decisions because what? I never believed in discipline. I just wanted to do what I wanted to do. Far as going back to like when I went in rehab, like I didn't want to make my bed up days, but now I had to make my bed up every morning. And that's something that stayed with me to the day now. That's something that I do. Just trying to keep things neat, clean. What I had to do them because I would have got disciplined or punished. But you know what? Now I'm structured in that way. I got some stability in my life. And it was the best thing. It's the best thing for me. Even when we was incarcerated, you gotta make your bed up. You gotta do, you gotta get up. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. But you know what? All them things makes you feel good, and that's something when I first started talking about. When I first started talking about it, it does make you feel good. And you look at it, like I said, discipline is not a bad thing. It definitely is not a bad thing. You know.
Yeah, no, because like you said, I mean, I look at it as, it allows you to take care of business. Like you said, you feel good because you got that stability. You're getting things done. You're taking care of business. That's one of the, most important skills in life.
Like when you say, like you said earlier, it keeps you like with a goal. It makes you feel good about like that goal. Some things like some tough tasks that you might have or some difficult things. Like what? But like if you discipline, you can work right through that. You can get through that. You succeed and you can make it happen. You can really make it happen. And like some obstacles, like what obstacles you might have, you can overcome them.
Right.
It used to be a saying, like, how did that saying used to say? The difficult, no, what is, the difficult we could do immediately, the impossible just takes a little time.
I was about to say, you almost forgot your mantra of the summer.
Well, what went over the summer?
That's all you kept saying over the summer.
I've been saying that for a lot of years. I don't know how long ago that what I heard, but it's been like a long time. And like just last week when you was talking a little bit, it just made me just think about discipline. And like cause like you always think, like I was saying earlier, you talk about like disciplining your kids or discipline. Now discipline is also showing somebody the right way of how to live, how to be in life, man. And that's like I would never even look at it sometimes as being disciplined. I wouldn't look at making my bed up as me being disciplined. Now if you don't make that bed up, you might get disciplined, or something like that. But just doing it in a positive aspect really helps you feel good. Like I'm saying, like doing a job or on that basketball court when and like what, sometimes you can lose a game and still come out feeling good if you know you did your best. And you stayed into the form or the discipline that you've been taught, that you carry on, because in the long run you're going to get better. And you know what, like you said, sometimes it's going to beat some teams. So what else going on with you this week?
Man, I'm just thinking about next week.
What, the games?
Yeah, this time of year I got a lot of games, work, this. But yeah, game wise, we got bounce back. We 6-2 in our division. Should be 8-0, but we're 6-2. So just looking forward to running the table. That's all. What about you?
Well, me, I'm just trying to looking forward to just getting back to work. Today I'm got to go with Bree and spend some time with her today. I'm just trying to, like you say, just trying to stay. Like I guess my new word for the day is discipline, and just trying to do the things that I need to do, and just try to stay, like I say, in my lane and just have a better day.
You asked you a question last week. Well, I asked you two things last week. You smiling? Wow, what's the first thing?
I know what you want to talk about. My goal.
Oh yeah, see that was one thing. So did you sit down and think about your goals for the year yet?
I've been thinking about it, but I haven't really put them in, like really what I want to do. I know one of my first goals right now is I want to go get my license, and I'll probably work on that this week. Since the holiday is over and everybody really probably back to work in full force, so that's
All right.
one thing I'm gonna do.
I like that one. Then I ask you another question.
What was the other question?
If you had to build a team around one NBA person today, who would it be?
I mean, like for real, like I really would say this: if I really started a team, and I would take LeBron
Today?
today.
Even though he's like 35, 33, 34, 35, somewhere in there?
You know, LeBron still make people better in a way. I just believe I just believe like if I had a chance, like sometimes what you would say in a game, you would take Michael Jordan, the greatest. I would say, like me, like I would probably take somebody like Magic Johnson.
No.
Yes, I would. Magic make people better.
And Jordan did?
Jordan, I mean, like you saying to build a team. Like I think, you know what? All right, let's. I'm gonna just say this in a way. It took Michael time to win a championship. How much time did it take Magic Johnson to win a championship?
Boy, look at what team he was on, though.
They didn't win the championship before he went there.
But look who he had there.
Okay, but what I'm saying is he still made. Okay, you know what? Kareem was out one game. They still took over and played the three positions that game.
Okay.
But that's what I'm saying.
That's one game, though.
But you know what? He won.
Like if Kareem is regarded as one of the greatest players to ever step on a basketball court, who is in that realm that Mike has played with?
Huh?
Who is in that realm that Mike has played with?
I can't touch that question.
No, you can touch it.
No,
It's a clear answer. Is anybody else?
I can't put nobody in that category. Okay, that's what I'm saying. I can't touch that question.
And who were the other great players Magic had alongside him? James Worthy, right?
But let me say this. I'm gonna go back to Kareem. Kareem was a great offensive player. Now Magic Johnson got him the ball a lot more in position where he was.
He's already a great offensive player, though.
Right. He was great. But now look what happened when he got a great leader. A person that, like, you know what? Magic spent his whole career in LA, so you can't really say other thing. But he won it when Kareem wasn't there as a center. He won it with other centers. He won it with when them people that he still won championship. That's why I said for me, like you might not see it, and I love Michael Jordan.
Did Magic ever have to? Like, what was the weakest team he won in the finals with? I feel like Jordan won with a bunch of role players.
Well, I mean, you don't think LA had role players? You don't win championship without role players.
I mean, yes, but I feel like Jordan didn't have another superstar alongside of him.
I'm not going. But I'm saying, but it still took chemistry with Michael to win a championship.
It takes chemistry with any team.
Okay. But Magic brought so much of that with him. Magic, you know what? You got to remember, Magic won in high school, he won in college, and he won in NBA. That's right there what you really got to see. You really got to see that. Now, that's just my opinion. I just would try to start a team because now, like I'm saying, LeBron got all them tools. And he shoots better than Magic. But he got all the tools. That's why I would say you could put almost anybody, and it's probably been proven. Look at some of the teams that he went to championship with. Now, I ain't a LeBron James lover, but you gotta look at what some of the teams he took to the championship or went to the championship with. That's why I'm saying you could take almost anybody and put around him, and he gonna win.
Who would be your next guy if LeBron was off the draft board?
Who would be my next guy? Wow, that's really tough for me.
Ben Simmons.
You know what? I can't say Ben Simmons would.
Yeah, I
I
was
can't say
joking.
that. Yeah, no, but you know what? Maybe he probably would. He could probably. He probably just need to try to shoot a little bit more. He might be, but like I just don't put him in a class like Magic was like Showtime. Where's LeBron at now in a Showtime town? And they doing pretty good.
So who would be if I took LeBron first because I had the first pick? Who would be your
What you mean?
second
You
pick?
gave me the first pick.
This is another scenario.
No, you know
If
what?
LeBron wasn't on the draft board, who would be your second person to build a team around?
I really don't really know right offhand without looking. But you know what? You never told me
give it some
who
thought.
you would take. You never told me who you would take.
I'll take LeBron as my first pick if he's there.
And who would be your second pick?
Probably Giannis.
Oh man.
Because with Giannis, like I like his improvement year to year. And I think that, if he continues to improve his shooting, which he has done, he'll continue to be able to make the game easier for guys around him. So then it's just a matter of pitting the right type of guys around him.
You know what?
Like someone that might can get him the ball in his spot, give him some shooters, maybe give him somebody with a little inside game. But because, once he starts knocking down jump shots consistently, it becomes a question of how do you defend that guy, right? Because you play up on him, he's gonna go by you. You're gonna be forced to double. You're gonna be forced to double. He's super strong, so inside, if it's somebody strong enough to body him up, they probably can't guard him on the perimeter. So it's a very similar situation as to how we used to look at LeBron's game, right? In terms of matchups, matchup nightmare. Giannis is 6'10", can jump out the gym. It's gonna be hard to contest his shot at his size. So my number 2 guy would be Giannis, and he's a lot younger, so I would have more years with him.
Know who my number 2 guy is?
I got a feeling.
Huh?
I got a feeling.
Kawhi.
Yeah.
Kawhi would be mine. And you know what? He already proved when he won championship last year with Toronto. So you could put some people around him, and he can do it.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be something this year because it's both of them in L.A. Ain't that something? So that might be who gonna come out of there.
Are you familiar with the game Uno?
Uno.
Yeah.
But the card game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how sometimes they got the draw 4 card, right?
Right.
Then they also got the custom card where you can put something on there.
Oh, I don't know that one. I'm with the old Uno.
So look, there's a meme out there, right? And it's Kawhi holding his card, and it's like, play it back to back, or draw 25. So the internet has just been going nuts. Do you get it?
No, not really.
Because Kawhi rarely ever plays back to backs.
He played what, back-to-back games?
Yeah, he doesn't really play back to backs.
No.
Load management. So it's like play it back to back, or draw 25. And everyone, it's pretty hysterical because most people gonna say, "Oh, he gonna draw that 25" because he's not playing that back to back.
I never even knew that.
Still don't get the joke.
No, yeah, I kind of get it. But I never knew that he didn't play back-to-back games.
Yeah, I mean he might sometimes, but it's not common. Like if there's a back to back, expect him to sit one.
That's why, like when we were talking about that before, remember we were kind of talking. It wasn't
He's
like
not
that.
100%. His health.
His health not 100%.
Yeah, probably not. You saw him last year in the finals. He was hurt.
He played good hurt though, didn't he?
So you gotta do what he gotta do. But
Well,
we gotta get ready to get out of here.
Okay, but I don't know. That would be my second. And I really, and when you
wait, if you pick him, he not playing all 82 games. He gonna play about 60 of them things. So I don't know how that go for your business model. That's something to keep in mind.
But he that injury prone now.
I don't know if he's maybe.
But I mean, if he can't play every game, like for some reason,
Maybe. So is that still your number two?
huh?
That's still your number two?
Yeah, he's still my number 2 right now. If I had to take a
You
chance,
just gotta play him 60 games. He'd be alright.
he might have to play a little bit more.
Cool. I know my team wouldn't have to worry about your team then.
Okay.
Alright, so family, we will see you again, same time, same place.
Next week.
Ooh, you actually filled in the blank the right way. Way to go, man. You got
Here
that.
you go. Here you go.
Yo, share this with a friend. Remember, you can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and Stitcher. Oh yeah, and Podbean. And soon to come on
You got me.
Spotify.
I know you. I see you always want to make fun. Jokester. We'll give you the stage.
Oh man. I set it off on the stage. Don't put me up there. But yeah, yo, have a great week. Hope that your 2020 is off to a wonderful start. And let's just keep building on it day by day, one day at a time. Let that discipline carry you. Let you know what you're working towards. And overall, just keep you on the right path. What you set out to do.
And I want to say, have a blessed week. A very, very good, blessed week.